since late September, so it's been a couple of weeks. I think
well,
they're coming
they had
off
a
a
bye
bye.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're 3-2. I mean, the quality of the competition is what it is. I mean, you had they fought Ohio State pretty hard. The second game, I drew a blank on that one, but it's not going to really matter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Central Florida, that was a tough one for them.
Yeah, and then
they played Wagner. Then they beat UNC Charlotte.
I'm not sure if we played FIU yet. I know that's our primary rival. You generally our homecoming game.
That's called the Shula Bowl, as they call it.
Schellenberger, right? Howard Schellenberger.
No, that's a Shula Bowl.
Oh, Don Shula. Okay.
Yeah, okay, but that's okay. You're new. We won't hold that against you. But no, the wins that they had were Wagner, Charlotte, and what was the other one? Was it?
I'm blanking on it, but I know they won their last 3 games, I believe. It's going to be exciting going into the game. I know they have that.
Was it at Kent State?
They had a running back transfer who came from another. I believe a former Alabama running back who came over, battled back from injury, and what happened in his first game? He got hurt.
Well, Lane Kiffin's not afraid to draw anybody from anywhere that he can.
No, yeah.
But, like I said, you're going to be breaking it pretty well. I'm not really worried about that at all. Why don't you give us an update on the Reyes game? Do you have one?
Reyes, it is 6-1, and also a good note that I will point out, didn't need to research this or anything, but Jose Altuve hit his 11th home run, most home runs ever for a second baseman in postseason history. So that's a fun note to add for Jose Altuve, who is on his way to a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah, he is. I mean, the one thing that the Yankees get out of this series with the Astros and the Rays is Houston's been extended, and that's exactly what the Yankees want. Remember, the Yankees swept out the Twins 3-0, and now they've watched the winner of this series go 5.
Yeah, and I'll be brief with this assertion, but regardless of who advances, and it's going to be the Astros, considering Cole just gave him 8 innings. He gave him 8 innings. He did exactly what they wanted him to do. He didn't strike out 100 batters the way he did in Game 1 when he had 15 strikeouts. But this series is going to be managed 2 different ways. I mean, you're going to see starters pitching in relief. You're going to see a lot of that. You're going to see a lot of very creative stuff on the pitching side. But if Houston's pitching is able to hold up, they're going to win the series, in 6 games. I think the Yankees are going to give them a little bit of a fight, considering that lineup and Stanton and Judge, but I will not be surprised if Judge is overpowered by Cole. Slider away is all you got to do with Stanton.
No, so you're saying that you feel that Houston's going to win this?
Houston's going to win it because I think the longevity of their starters compared to Aaron Boone's very analytically based idea of maneuvering around, the lack of a great starting rotation, which is a good starting rotation, but it's not great. He's going to rely heavily on the bullpen, and it may be a downfall for him.
All right, well then, you know what I'm going to do? Just because you said the Astros are going to win this series, I'm going to go with the Yankees.
Then you could say that, but I would not be surprised either.
No, wait. Let me finish, okay? You went with the Astros. I'm going with the Yankees.
You're going to counter with me?
Yeah, I am.
It's like,
I'm going to go ahead and take those bats of the Yankees, who, by the way, even when Judge and Stanton were out for a while, okay, and they found a guy by the name of DJ LeMahieu, the former Colorado Rocky, and they had other guys step up. Cameron Maybin's done well.
Mike Talkman, who unfortunately isn't
available. All right, but the point is I'm going with the Yankees. You're going with the Astros.
I like your next man up ethos because that's what it's been for that team all year. It's been next man up. I agree with you. I mean, it's going to be a fantastic series regardless. I'm sure you and me are going to have a lot of fun talking about it on air here and maybe just discussing it off air. Maybe we'll get to talk about it with Mark, at the end of the month when that series is over.
Don't worry about it. Right now we're talking about it amongst ourselves.
But you know what I'm saying.
I totally know what you're saying. You went with the Astros. I'm going with the Yankees. And you know what? Everybody out here is going to find out one of us is going to be right.
Yeah, one of us, and then one of us is going to wear the dunce cap.
Yeah, well,
and
that's
that dunce cap should be a Dolphins hat or
I've
something.
worn the dunce cap a time or two here and there. I'm not the least bit concerned
It's
about
okay.
it.
I picked the Dodgers to win the World Series this year.
Good.
Look
now
what
you're
happened.
wearing it.
So I'm wearing it temporarily, but I genuinely think the Cardinals could challenge. So we'll see what happens.
And what hat am I wearing?
And you're wearing a Jaguars hat. You're riding Minshew Mania. And you need the headband, though.
I don't need the headband. I'm just wearing
you
a
need
Jaguars
headband,
hat.
Shave the beard, just keep the mustache on, you'll be good to go.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Okay, but that's okay. But my hat of the day, for those of you that are not seeing us, no, we don't do the old visual thing around here. I am wearing a Jacksonville Jaguars hat, and Candy, my wife and I will be heading up I-95 4.5 hours away to cover the Jaguars against New Orleans Saints. We wish that it would have been Drew Brees, but obviously, he's not going to be there. So with that said, our final guest tonight is Damon Knight. And Damon, welcome to the Sports Exchange. How are you, Damon?
I'm doing good, Scoop. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. You're in the house here with Louis Eddie Weiss.
What's going on, Damon? Glad to talk to you
Louis.
again.
How you doing?
Good.
That's good.
So what you got for us there, Mr. Knight, since you're the last guest of the night?
Yes, I wanted to talk about the NLDS. You know, it's been crazy. I was watching the game last night, and I thought, you know, this would be a great story. So I'm going to go right into it. So the Braves played the Cardinals last night, and it was a rather just awful game to watch in the first inning. Just a 10-run pouncing on the Braves by the Cardinals. Fulton Dievich, the Braves starting pitcher, only pitched half an inning with 3 hits, gave up 3 hits, 3 walks, and had 7 runs scored on him, and 6 of those were earned. And he had 0 Ks. You know, that's not going to get that done. And, you know, Flaherty, he had 10 runs to work with, and he pitched 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 base on ball, and 8 strikeouts. And the Cardinals ended up winning 13-1. So, yeah, that was a hard game to watch. So,
not for me. It was over pretty quick, so I could prepare for 3 programs. Go ahead, Louis.
Well, breaking news, Scott and Damon, the Houston Astros will be taking on the New York Yankees in the ALCS. Just announced a 6-1 victory for the Astros over the Tampa Bay Rays. We saw them with that 2-0 lead. The Rays kind of helped them relinquish it a little bit. And what happens? Houston comes out tonight behind Garrett Cole. What did A.J. Hinch say before the game? No one feels better than us right now. And where are they now? Going for a date with the Yankees.
Well, look at it this way from a Tampa standpoint, though.
Yep.
As bad as their attendance has been, at least they probably got 30,000 plus for the 2 games, and
right.
And that's with canvas seats. So, you know,
right.
Take it for whatever it's worth when you're a small market team that has, 60-some-odd million dollars in payroll. But, you know, they got a lot of mileage out of that team. Go ahead, Eamon. Continue on.
Yeah, you know, it's not really shocking that the Astros won tonight. You know, I'm happy that the Rays put up a fight so it wouldn't be boring. You know, so it became a competitive series. But I'm talking about the National League. So, you know, the other teams were the Washington Nationals and the Dodgers. That was a game to see. That game was history in the making. You had 2 great pitchers going at it, William Walker Buehler and Steven Strasburg. You know, Strasburg, former number 1 overall pick, going up against one of the best weapons, best young starters to come up in the baseball, in Walker Buehler. And the Dodgers jumped over Strasburg in the first 2 innings. I was shocked by that. You know, I figured that he'd get off to a really good start and show his dominance early, but Jock Pederson jumped all over him with a ground root double to left field that pierced the wall, the fence. If you saw it, it was a weird occurrence. And then Max Muncy was on deck, and he hit a 2-run bomb to put them in the lead. And then in the very next inning, Enrique Hernandez, got a run in, which made it 3-0, and then Soto and Rendon opened up the scoring for the Nationals in the 6th, and then that, opened the floodgates, and then Kershaw came in. They're like, we're going to give him the ball to put an end to this bleeding. And he gave up 2 back-to-back home runs to Rendon and Soto, who, delivered for them in the 6th. And then, Howie Kendrick comes along. They put Joe Kelly in, and he hits a grand slam to put them in the lead and eventually win it. So just a freak of events in one game. And, the Nationals are going to the NLCS. So it's just been crazy.
Okay, let me go over a couple little hypothetical matchups now that you're on, okay? Now, we're just going to have some fun with this. I know Louis and I have done it throughout the evening, okay? But we'll just throw a couple scenarios now that the Dodgers are out, okay?
Yes, yep.
Okay, the Yankees, if they go to the World Series, although I believe they will go to the World Series, if they face the Cardinals, it would be the first time that those 2 teams were on the field since 1926, right? That's what you told me.
Yes, sir. Babe Ruth caught stealing to end the series.
Right, okay, we know that, okay. Yep. Well, maybe they don't, maybe he doesn't. But we'll just say the first time since 1926. Now, or let's just say the Yankees take on the Nationals. Here's the interesting dynamic of that, okay? had the strike not ended the World Series, I have a feeling the Yankees could have played the Montreal Expos in the World Series because the Expos had the best record in baseball. The World Series matchup that we never saw, and you can tell you how many Hall of Famers came out of that. I think Pedro
was on that team. John Wetman, who was the Yankees closer in '96.
Right.
I mean, you had Moises Alou.
Right. Had a lot of good players.
Andres Galarraga was on that team.
His young days,
Derek Jeter did come into this was '94, so Jeter did debut in '95. But I totally agree. The Yankees could have, and Buck Showalter could have been in a World Series.
Right.
No one talks about that. Never been to a World Series.
Orioles coach. Yeah.
Well, it's funny how you talk about Buck Showalter. Hold on your thought for a minute. We'll get into that. But you'd think if anything goes full circle, there's no Hollywood ending into it because a Hollywood ending ended in Hollywood for all the wrong reasons.
The California team wins. Yeah.
Right. But let's just go back to the past a little bit. The Yankees against the Expos could be the Yankees and the Nationals. 2019. Now, let's talk about Buck Showalter now that you brought it up, okay? Buck Showalter just missed it with the Diamondbacks, and Bob Brenly is the one that got the World Championship ring there for the Diamondbacks, and he laid out the groundwork for the Yankees for Joe Torre to go ahead. So when you talk about things going full circle, I have a feeling Buck Showalter is going to wind up managing this year someplace.
He could manage with the Mets.
No, I don't. Well, maybe he can handle New York. I don't know.
Well, you got the Cubs. The Cubs got a coaching vacancy with Joe Madden being gone.
Yeah.
Whoever lands that job, that's an early Christmas present right there.
Yeah, well, I believe Joe Girardi's going there. Lewis does.
I
and
concur.
everybody else.
Yep.
Yep. So, it's baseball is it's a sport of anything can happen. One coaching change, one pitching change, anything. One designated hitter. It's a great sport. And anything can happen.
So, Damon, last question before we let you go. Okay, are you surprised at how many managerial openings that there are, since there are 8 now after the dismissal of Gabe Kapler?
No, not really. I'm sorry I said not really. The one coaching vacancy that does surprise me is the Chicago Cubs, but I look at the other teams and it really doesn't surprise me. It's just these teams, they wanted to get into a win now mode, and if these coaches, don't bring that win now mode to the team automatically, they're going to be gone. Like you look at Osmus with the Angels, in that situation, he didn't get it done there. The Cubs, just going from making the playoffs for like the last 4 years to not making the playoffs, this year, it's all over the place, and just they need to get back to that winning culture.
Well, so let's look at a few of the managerial vacancies. We've got about another minute and a half to go.
Yep.
I would doubt anybody would want to go to take the Pirates job. I mean, Clint Hurdle, I thought, did as good a job as any. The Royals are really.
Mike Matheny's going to take that job. He's their scouting director.
Is he really?
And a former St. Louis Cardinal.
Okay, but I was going to ask you about that. Thanks for bringing that up. I've heard about Mike Matheny as a possibility for that one. And I think the Royals job can be a good job. And Ned Yost left it in pretty good hands.
Yep.
So we look at that one. The Giants job, to me, is a very interesting one.
I haven't, and that's funny you mentioned that, Scott. I haven't necessarily thought about who would be the heir apparent to Bruce Bochy over there. There's rumors that Hensley Mullins, their longtime hitting coach, may be in, and he's interviewed for jobs in the past. So maybe him, but there hasn't really emerged a lot of names. Maybe Kapler could go over to San Francisco.
Rumors, Carlos Beltran is out there. David Ross. Ron Washington, he's a third base coach.
With Atlanta,
for
correct?
The now eliminated, it's not crossing my brain.
Well, that's okay. Let me incorporate here. I like the fact he's brought Ron Washington. I think that he could be right for that possibility as well. So, we'll keep that in mind. So,
Yeah.
Good point. I'm glad you brought that up. And the Mets, I think Carlos Beltran could definitely be a guy that's in play.
I'll be